Oh, I love that theme music. Welcome back to On Texas Football. Welcome to our Wednesday night live stream, the Hump Day edition of the live stream. And I want to thank all you guys for joining us. We're here to talk about your number one ranked Texas Longhorn football team. I don't know why, but there's bulletin board material from ULM. I have no idea why that's the case, but we'll get into it. Also, any recruiting updates, we got Jerry, we got CJ here for that. Also, we'll talk about the upcoming opponent, ULM. Sark had his latest media availability, a Zoom call, so we'll get into things that were said there. CJ put out a tweet that's got Longhorn fans buzzing a little bit, very optimistic about an injury that happened early on in the season. All right, so we'll get to that too. Before we do that, let me introduce the rest of the crew because he's the estimable Jerry Hamilton, the man that discovered myself, Rod Davers. I'll give him credit for that and much more. And lifetime Longhorn, the young prodigy, CJ Vogel. What's going on, gentlemen? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling?
It's Wednesday.
Feel great, man. I feel great. I mean, ranked number one. I think it's been 20. Is this right? Somebody in the chat tell me. I saw something. It's been 24,000 days since A&M was ranked number one in football. I mean, Mike, I find that hard to believe, but is that really true? Does anybody have the exact numbers? Because I'd ask Billy Lucci. I don't think he'd answer.
No, it's Kyle Umlang. Shout out to Kyle. He put out that tweet trolling the Aggies as he does so masterfully all the time. And he put it out 24,415 days.
That's not bad.
Time the Aggies were number one in the AP.
If you get to 25,000, you might have an issue. So you might want to have 580 roughly days to kind of knock this one out.
Kyle did point out that Kentucky, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt have never been ranked number one overall. So at least they got a leg up on them. But basically everybody else in the SEC has had a shorter. They've basically been ranked in more recently than the Aggies have. So that ain't gonna lie. He's put out some gems. Kyle Umlang, he does a great job. It's fantastic. That is master trolling from a data scientist, gentlemen. That is.
Do you think the fans lie to their collie dogs and say this is the number one team in America every Saturday, like when the dog's sitting there watching them play?
I hope not.
Well, don't bring Reveille in this, man. The Reveille's good. That's a good dog, man. I've actually had some interaction with Reveille before.
Did he try to bite you on the sidelines in 99?
No, he did not. We had. I used to do radio. We attend an Aggie barbecue. I mean, Aggies, if you're listening, you might know this. And they have like an Aggie barbecue in Austin. Like, I don't know. I think it's an annual thing for all the Aggies in the area. And they always bring Reveille out. Hang out and kick it a little bit. I've seen RC there a few times back in the. I don't know if they still do it. It was back in the day, but that's where I hung out with Reveille, and then I became a fan. I'm not gonna lie, it's a good dog. I'm a dog person though.
I am too.
Did you realize that the Aggies can make any kind of dog? I believe the mascot, it doesn't have to be a collie.
Oh, really?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I want to know. An Aggie told me that it was like, no, it could be any kind of dog, and I was like, why'd y'all choose a collie then? Y'all could have chose some other kind of dog then. You know, why not choose? Yeah, because I always thought they should choose like a service dog, like take the dog, like a badass dog that was served either in a civil capacity or, served in the military. Because they got dogs to do all kind of cool things. And I think the Aggies could, I don't know, I'm not trying to help the Aggies out, but I think it'd be a bit better branding than the collie. They did that when Lassie was popular. I think they were like, Lassie, that's the most popular dog in the world. Let's do it. Because like, well, no, not anymore. Nobody's vibing about Lassie and the collie. So I don't know.
If we get to 25,000 days and haven't been ranked number one, they should change it to a teacup chihuahua.
I may be spitting out some jargon and some folklore that's not actually true. So Aggies, let me know if I'm wrong about that or whatever. All right. Let's get to it, gentlemen. Let's start here because I know we got a lot we're going to get to. And, of course, all of your questions, all of your comments, that's first and foremost. You know how it works. Super chats, they can interrupt the show at any time. They jump to the front of the line. And already, YouTube boy says, change subject. Change subject. He's going to pay us to change the damn subject. Thank you, YouTube boy. Keep us on task here. Keep us on task. Okay, how do you guys feel about – first of all, let's start with the business here. Sark did speak to the media. And he did not reveal a starting quarterback, or at least did not reveal their plan for who's going to start the game. That is still technically, it is still up in the air. But what are the chances that Quinn Ewers starts this game? CJ, what's the chances here?
I would say very low. And there's no need, right? We've talked about it. There's a 45 point spread in favor of the Longhorns right now. Jared just threw up a 0. I think it's pretty close to that, if not that right now. It should be Arch Manning. It most likely will be Arch Manning. Sark spoke with the SEC teleconference today. He said there's no true starter right now. I bet we hear that Friday afternoon. Sarkisian likes to play that off as long as possible. Of course, we'll hear from him again tomorrow afternoon for his last media availability with the local media. But right now, it's Arch Manning getting reps with the first team. Quinn Ewers, I mentioned on Tuesday, was out there throwing the football a little bit early in practice. He was in shorts and a T-shirt, but just getting warmed up a little bit, making sure that his body on the right side was functioning properly. But right now, all signs point to Arch Manning being your starting quarterback against ULM. So first career start for Arch Manning coming up this Saturday. Take that in.
Oh man, I'm buzzed. It's gonna be a lot of buzz, guys. I don't know if you guys saw this, and I probably shouldn't even bring it up because it's for the national narrative. This is probably not good. It's not really constructive. But we did see that they placed Arch in the Heisman odds. Basically, as soon as he got some action. This comes from John Ewing, who basically does work for Action Network, I believe. And he claims that once they put Arch Manning in the Heisman odds since Saturday, the most bets they have are on Arch Manning to win the Heisman.
That's wild.
I'll double those odds. Give them to me. Place them with me.
That's wild.
Isn't that wild? That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Like I said, so the Arch madness is real. I think those are like, I don't bet a lot. CJ, so you maybe CJ, maybe you know more about this. Don't some of these feel like, don't they like a gag gift? It's almost like a gag bet. Like it's almost out of fun. Like you buy a gag gift for somebody, you don't expect them to use it. It's a fun. It's almost you just throwing the money away because you want to crack a little joke or something. It's a feel good kind of moment. There's some bets like that because that bet feels like that. It's like he's not gonna win. But why would you bet unless you're just like, that's a little gag bet for me? Is that happen? Is that a thing?
I mean, in this case, it might be. I remember, growing up, my stocking for Christmas, I'd walk downstairs and I'd have like some of those scratch off lottery tickets, and it's fun. I'm not expecting to win a whole lot, but in the case that I win $20, hey, that's found money. In the case like this for Arch Manning, I'm not totally sure if folks are expecting him to be the guy the rest of the year. They shouldn't be, because Quinn Ewers, when healthy, is of course, was the Heisman favorite for week 2 and week 3. But hey, if that's what's fun and gets you locked into some of these Texas games is rooting for the individual play of Arch Manning, that'll be great for about a week, right? Maybe 2 weeks. And then, of course, you'll see Quinn coming in. So maybe you'll be able to cash out early and sell those odds high and make a couple pennies of profit. But long term, I wouldn't advise anybody to be thrown on that. That's for sure.
I would bet money because Paul Feinbaum actually brought this up. If you were telling me, is it a loan? Can I make a bet for 2 years? Within 2 years, you told me I can get that. I can get 25 season and the 26 season. If I get those, I put that bet down. That's a wise bet. Right. That would be a wise bet. You know what I mean? But right now, like I said, it feels like a gag bet or, kind of.
Rob, that's what I'm kind of hoping right now. We don't see that much of Arch for 2025. Those odds are still as high as they are. That way, we make some more dollars that way for 2025 Heisman betting. If he plays as long as he does, or if he plays much longer this year, then he could be the odd-on favorite next year.
He is. 2025. He 100% will be. That's
no matter what.
Yeah. Him or Nico next year. It's easy. It's easy to say who's going to be the 2.
I think that's right.
I guess we'll see how Jackson Arnold does this weekend.
Jerry's into trolling our rivals, and I am all about it, man. Just keep doing it. That's 2 already. We're not even 10 minutes into the live stream. Aggie's got one of them, and these students get one.
Hey, by the way, how bad do you think Josh Heupel wants to?
Oh, yeah, that's personal right there. What did Deion say last year? And they made it personal. And this is personal for Josh Heupel. That back 7 of Oklahoma's is one of the best in the country. It really is. They got a good back 7. I just wonder how long they can hold up before the dam breaks. I don't know if they're going to get a lot of offensive support. That's what I wonder. Again,
one of the things, Rod, about OU, is in that game, because we talk about all this stuff, is they stack the box quite a bit. They play a lot of 6 to 7 man box. I don't think you can do that against Tennessee.
Now with the splits of the wide receivers alone.
That's it. So Brent Venables, kind of those blitz packages he brings from everywhere. I'm not sure how that's going to work against Tennessee.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure you can have a 6.5/7 man box against Tennessee. That if you look at how I was looking at that game a little bit, if you look at how Georgia, I asked somebody today that's in Athens, what did Georgia do against them? They played a lot of 5-man straight up box with maybe a half shade guy in a box. 5.5.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point, Jared. You're right about that, man.
Brett likes to stack it and disguise everything and be exotic, and I'm not sure you can be against them. That's going to be an interesting matchup for them defensively.
Yeah, and they do stack it.
Will be interesting.
Yeah, they do stack it. You're gonna leave some guys on an island, and you got to trust them. And maybe they do. Maybe that's the risk they take. They just trust their guys out there on an island in that regard.
Looks like they will be getting some help at wide receiver, and for Jackson Arnold. He's probably sitting back there saying, "Thank you, Lord," right after the start to this year. It looks like Nick Anderson will be good to go. It looks like Andrew Anthony will be making his return as well. Perhaps could give OU a spark offensively. We'll see if that offensive line holds up enough.
I mean, look, that's their best receiver everybody's looking at. That's Nick Anderson. He's the best receiver on that team. Best pro prospect on that team.
I agree.
That helps make Deion Burks a better player, by the way.
Okay.
I think, Deion's a better college guy in my eyes. I think long-term NFL prospect, Nick Anderson is going to be your guy. What's that?
Transfer
Purdue transfer. Yeah, and if you look back at the Tulane game and even, some of that Houston game, and the offense was pretty stagnant. If they weren't getting the ball to Burks, they weren't moving the football at all. And so that's really the one instance in which I went through the numbers today. I was doing kind of a dive on some of the yards after catch. Deion Burks leads Oklahoma with 86 yards after the catch. Wow. OU doesn't have another wide receiver with more than 15 yards after the catch. And that's how injury plagued that they've been. That includes Brennan Thompson. That includes, the couple minutes that we saw of Jalil Farouk before the injury. They just haven't had anybody with that explosivity or speed on the outside that can create after the catch, much like how we've seen for 3 straight weeks now. Texas, anybody that they throw the ball to right now has been able to create. Texas has 680 yards after the catch this year, Rob. That leads the SEC by 60. Want to know who's next? Ole Miss. And then it drops off by about 150. That tells you how much these guys get the ball out to their guys early and how much time there is around them, or how much space is around them to go make plays after the catch. Also, the type of systems with Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian to keep the ball moving whenever it's, kind of pitched and caught by the receivers.
Yeah, great.
Hey, Rod, we had a question. I couldn't find it, but it's kind of a follow-up to this. Ceiling and floor for the Texas defense. Somebody asked you about that. And I want to get your opinion on that, because what's interesting to me about Texas defensively is, look, they haven't played a good offense yet. We're real on this show about that, right?
Yeah, agreed.
But they're not playing Ole Miss. They're not playing Tennessee. They're not playing Kalen DeBoer. They're not playing Eli Drinkwitz. So they're not playing the 4 other guys that are the top offensive minds in the SEC, that Sark being those are the 5 guys you make a list of. You can argue whether it's Kiffin 1, Sark 2, Sark 1, Kiffin 2, DeBoer. Just throw them all up. I mean, but Texas doesn't play any of those passing offenses, any of those play callers. So I'm really interested, the defense, how challenged through the air they're actually going to be on this schedule this year.
No, I agree, because the quarterbacks as well. It's something CJ and I talked about in the preseason, right? They don't face a lot of Carson Beck. Obviously, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the country. But other than him, they don't face a lot of high-level quarterbacks either in very sophisticated passing systems. So I agree with you. I think it's actually set up pretty well for this Texas defense to continue to have, kind of a suffocating effect on opposing offense, where they can really take away a strength from a team. So I agree. I think this Texas defense, the ceiling is, it could be it's possible. I know in this day and age it's tough because you're going up against high octane offenses. They could be one of the top 10 best defenses in Texas football history. Like they're already starting off that way, right? They've allowed 19 points through the first 3 games. Last time Texas allowed, that few points through the first 3 games, you got 1983. All right. Shout out to Danny Davis, who did the research and threw that stat out there. That 1983 is considered one of the top 3 best defenses in the history of Texas football, guys. Yeah. I mean, I got the numbers here because I was doing the research years ago. That defense allowed, I believe it was less than 10 points per game. Now, they ain't go, I don't know, that this day and age, you can't do that. But this defense, it's considering the context and everything, it could go down as a top 10 defense all time. Or even top 5, they continue on this track. The truth is, you have playmakers now at every level, it would seem, right? In the secondary, you have a plethora of playmakers. Right now, I don't know if anybody's playing better in that secondary than Makuba, Jadae Barron. Malik Muhammad's playing really good. He don't get a lot of attention, but man, he has been pretty much a lockdown corner so far. Hasn't been truly tested yet, but he's been a lockdown corner. The numbers are he and Jadae as corners have been targeted 19 times, allowed nine receptions, but they made a play on the ball 5 times, right? PBU or interception. That to me, that's a good ratio, right? And they're not giving up a lot of yards. I think they've allowed less than 50 yards in total receiving yards combined for both of them. Jadae Barron is the highest, I think, graded DB in the SEC by Pro Football Focus at this time. So you got multiple guys in the secondary playing at a high level. The linebacking core, I think Anthony Hill's right now playing I saw a stat from Pro Football Focus. Can think, giving them props again. He's one of their top 5 highest graded Power 4 linebackers right now. Oof. Anthony Hill is. So throw that out there, and then look at the D line, and Colin Simmons is obviously the prodigy that people are paying attention to. The more he plays, the more plays he makes. He's one of those guys. But then you look at just the D line as a whole, the interior D line. We thought there would be question marks, concerns. So far, they have answered all the questions and exceeded my expectations in the interior D line. And we knew the edges would be a strength. If anything, people are criticizing the edges aren't making enough plays. They want more splash plays out of the guys on the edge. So they have playmakers at every level of the defense. That's rare for a Texas defense, and that's the ingredients of an all-time great Texas defense, in my opinion.
Hey, trivia question for the chat and you guys. Don't go to Wiki and look this up. Combined age of Alan Bowman and Cam Rising, who I think are matching up Saturday.
Oh, I can get this probably. Hold up.
Jared, they're calling this the Indeed.com mid-season bowl game because it should be time for jobs for both of these guys.
Yes.
40. It's got to be like 48 or something, right? Because they got to be like 20, right? They got to be like 24.
Josh Paredes got it. 49, and it will be close. 49.
Yep, I was close. I said they both been playing like 7 years. 7 years, 7th year for them guys. Honestly,
Mike Gundy loves himself an old quarterback, or go back to Brandon Wheat. I know he had his baseball stint too. But wasn't he 27 when he got drafted in the first round?
Yeah, he was. Yep. Yeah,
I'd have to look back at how old Chris Winkie was as a senior at FSU. So him and somebody else could have potentially been 50. I don't know. It's going to be close. But, I mean, normally we're sitting there as somebody's at 25 and 24. They're 49. Bowman turns 25 in March, so can't hit that magic 50 number combined. Wow. I don't know when Rising turns 26, though. But, I need to look back at Winkie's age when he was a senior at FSU to see if they broke the 50s and anybody.
He said,
yeah.
Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's old. Hey, one name that we're seeing in the chat quite a bit, Brew McCoy. He's still around. He'll be huffing and puffing on Saturday night.
He's so long ago. He was recruited in the Brian Carrington and Tom Herman mid years at Texas. Not late, mid.
No, that's I'm jealous of those guys. I'm not gonna lie, man. 7 years in college, probably started working on your masters at that point. and you get NIL money at that point to build the future, and you can still go play like the XFL now and whatever else other league they got. Oh, I'm jealous. So
it's interesting looking back at some of those guys as well. Casey Thompson still playing college football. We mentioned Brew McCoy. Yep. Jake Smith still playing college football.
True.
You know, some of those names that, you know, Texas fans, and rightfully so, were so excited to see, you know, join the Burn Orange back in the day. They're still playing football, and I think that's crazy.
Yeah, COVID was disastrous for a lot of folks, of course, and us too. But that COVID extra year, man, it really changed college football. Like, it changed the landscape of it, because that extra year, that's basically what all these guys have. So the Miami 9-year tight end, it's like 29 years old, I think.
That's scored his first touchdown the other day.
I'm jealous.
So the Miami quarterback tight end combination.
I'm jealous.
What's their age, combined age?
Cam Ward?
I wish I was. Oh yeah, Cam Ward's been around a minute. So I played Casey Thompson in the playoffs. I see.
So their combined age is 51. So they literally have NFL age.
Yeah, that will be Jerry. There will be NFL quarterback matchups this week that won't have the age. They won't have the age, right? The combined age of that matchup between Bowman and Cam Rising.
We saw it Monday night. Bears, Texans, CJ Stroud, Caleb Williams. Neither of them were older than these guys.
That's what makes that wild. I think that matchup was 41.
Yeah, 42. You're right. Good point, CJ. I didn't think about that. Damn. All right, there you go. All right, before we continue here, let's thank one of our great sponsors here at On Texas Football. Let's thank our good friend Andy Ludicky for sponsoring our Wednesday night live stream. If you're looking to diversify, you may be someone like me that has their hands in multiple businesses. Well, Andy can help you diversify by helping you find businesses that will fit your time allotment and your financial goals. If you're stuck in the corporate rat race with 2 weeks PTO and no control over the money you make or your schedule in general, call Andy and he will take you through a process to help you find a business that will fit your skill sets and financial goals. Franchise ownership isn't for everyone, but if you have a desire to take control of your financial destiny, call Andy today or email him simply at andy@myperfectfranchise.net. That's andy@myperfectfranchise.net, or you can give him a call right there at 404-973-9901. Thank you very much to Andy Ludicky and his team for sponsoring our Wednesday night live stream and being part of the Owen Texas football family. All right, gentlemen, let's hit a couple of
real quick before super chats. The SEC injury report's out for Oklahoma. Obviously, Jaden Gibson, Farouk out for the year. Gentry Williams, top corner, out. Fastest corner. Gary and Hatchett out. Deshaun McCullough, linebacker, doubtful. Branson Hickman, Jake Taylor on the offensive line, questionable. Nick Anderson, Angelo Anthony, probable. That's why Matt Zenit's text tweeted that. And then Troy Everett, offensive lineman, probable. So
is Kendall Dolby listed on there?
He is probable.
Okay.
And for Tennessee, Lance Hurd's questionable, their left tackle, which means he's playing. But they lost their nickel before the season. So Tennessee's also a much healthier team.
Okay. Oh, good stuff there. Thanks for that, Jerry. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's hard to get used to the injury.
I love it.
Yeah, the availability report. Sorry, not injury. Availability report is what they're calling it. So Tennessee by 42. That corner being out is big. Any defensive pieces you got out against Tennessee, that's big, man.
And he's their speed guy.
Yeah. And
he's a 10-600-meter guy in high school.
Whew, yeah, that could be trouble. We'll see. If Brent Venables is the defensive mastermind that everybody claims him to be, he'll have something up his sleeve, but I don't know if it'll be enough. But I think he'll have something. He'll have something to keep him close. But I got a lot of respect for Venables as a defensive mind. All right, thanks for that, Jerry. Let's get to the super chats here. Thank you for the super chat. Football Junkie, we appreciate you as always. Football Junkie says, what's the official website for defensive stats? I can only find offense, who leads the team in tackles, sacks, tackle loss, and etc. They do have them on the Texas website, the defensive stats, right? The individual players. You can go find them at Texas, right? Texas official website. Or I look at a lot of different places. Pro Football Focus has their own version of advanced stats and analytics. Football Junkie, if you want to get in that, obviously you got to pay for that.
You can go to NCAA.org and look up the national stats too if you want to measure Texas against other people. It also has national leaders in the individual tab, team tab. You can look at all the team leaders. it literally lists 1 through 134 in rushing offense, pass, all the various categories you want to look at.
Yeah. So there's several. I mean, honestly, I probably could make you a list. CFBstats.com is another place that I've gone to a few times, but go to the Texas website. I do believe Texas Longhorns, TexasLonghorns.com. They do have the stats up there. You probably got to go through, a bunch of prompts, but you can get to the individual defensive stats there too.
Cool thing about that too is go to TexasSports.com, and then you go to football, then you go to archives, and you can look up Rod Babers stats, game by game, and season stats in the archive. Congrats on being in the.
You don't want to do that. Yeah, you don't want to do that. Robbie, I will say I am still top 5 in all time in PBUs, though. That is actually true. Like I said, I take a little pride in that because, like I said, most of those were not. They were just dropped interceptions, half of them. So I should be up there with the all-time interceptions record, but different discussion for a different day. So thank you for the super chat. We appreciate that, Football Junkie. How about this from Edward? Edward, thank you very much. Very kind of you for 2 super chats here. It says $5 each for the Fab Five. Jerry, Rod, CJ, Bobby, and Blake. Thanks, guys. Edward also threw in another 5. So yeah, you go, boom. He threw in
for Matt.
Thank you, Edward.
God bless you, brother. That's very kind of you, Edward. We appreciate you, man. No doubt. We have a lot of fun doing this. We hope you guys do too. All right, getting back to got Jeff here with a super chat. Jeff, thank you very much. He said, I think On Texas Football should do a 2-hour breakdown of the OU Tennessee game, please. Ooh, interesting. A breakdown. We'll definitely break it down. I don't know if we can spend that much time on it, but we would definitely break it down for you. It's a big game.
Should we just do a watch with us with that and lead right into Texas?
What's that? Well, so is that game the right before Texas game? Is it?
I believe yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we'll definitely talk about it. It's a big game. And we'll see how good Oklahoma is. I mean, this is really the litmus test for Oklahoma early on in the season right now.
Yeah.
See how good they are. So thank you for that. We appreciate it, Jeff. UT Boy says number 21 was a dog. I appreciate that, UT Boy. Hey, back in my day, man. Back in my day. You see, that was in my prime. I try to tell my wife about it all the time, but she don't believe me. I got to show her YouTube clips. Someone said, Randy says, I'll break it down. Vols win. Yeah, I think the Vols win too. I just want to know how it looks.
I'm so interested how Venables is going to attack them defensively.
Yes, exactly.
He's going to have to go away from what he really likes to do in terms of disguising his blitzes, the way he does it. Now, he can't play that 6.5, 7-man box effectively against Tennessee. I don't think so. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I want to see. I want to see what his game plan is because, like I said, I got a lot of respect for him as a defensive mind. So I think he'll come up with something, but whether it'll be enough to stop him for 4 quarters, that's an entirely different conversation. All right. How about this question from Shivam? Shivam says, Jerry, how is Trey Johnson looking? What kind of season are you expecting from him? A little recruiting nugget.
Yeah, hoops wise, really good. I think he's a first round pick. The question is he going to play himself in the lottery pick? I actually spoke to someone very close today. I continue to believe the guards as a whole, Texas is going to have a tremendous group of guards. Now, how are they going to take their roles? How are those roles going to be handled? This is a bunch of guys who are used to starting plus Trey Johnson. Who's going to be who wants to come off the bench and embrace that role? Kendall Weaver will. But I think Texas is a lot more talented basketball team than last year. I was told there are 5 or 6 pros on this team this year, and that doesn't mean NBA draft picks. We're talking pros at any level, but it's been a while since Texas had 5 or 6 on the same team. So they're more talented this year. Now it's making it all work, putting it all together.
Yeah, it's exciting. You bet. We talk about, that game last week, Jerry, for guys hosting visits for all sports. Again, this weekend will be another one, in terms of where, big sports hosting official visitors and getting guys on campus for the atmosphere, for the fans, whatever it is, just to show off the campus and what's expected to be another tremendous night underneath the lights here at DKR.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the question there. We got another one here. It says Edward. Says Rod, do you think we'll end the season with more picks than sacks? No way. You'll have more sacks than picks. I just don't know how many sacks you're going to have. It'll pick up. I do think your leader in sacks might end up being a freshman. It's very possible that could end up being the case. I think Colin Simmons could end up being your leader in sacks. And I do think that if Texas can, defensively, they can continue doing what they're doing right now, Edward, and that is putting teams in 3rd and long a lot because they're winning on early downs, and they'll face better offenses, so that won't continue to be the case. But I found that they basically have an MO on 3rd and long. Texas does early on in the season. Out of the 21 3rd and longs that I have been able to track Texas defending this season, they've used either the 3 high look or the NASCAR dime package on 18 of the 21. They're starting to so it's been and or sometimes it's both, but they're starting to develop kind of a modus operandi, if you will, on 3rd and long, and they're really good at it. By the way, they have allowed only 1 conversion of a 3rd and long, and that was that Colston. Remember that Colston Loveland? It was like a 24-yarder or something.
Was that the flea flicker?
It was a flea flicker.
Or was it the?
Oh no! It
was like scrambling.
Yeah,
he was scrambling out to the sideline, just threw it up.
Playing jackpot.
Yeah. Yes, it's kind of a 50-50 ball. I believe that's the only one that I tracked that they actually gave up a conversion on. So my point is that they are, and one of the things they're doing, they're featuring Colin Simmons. They're also trying to isolate him on an island on some of those plays with a tackle of some kind. Now maybe they're game planning who that is, but they're featuring him as a pass rusher. And I think because of that, it seems like all he needs is 1 a game. And if Texas can continue to get up in games, force opponents into 3rd and longs, they're going to get more sacks. They're going to get more picks too, but they'll get more sacks and picks. If they get more picks than sacks, then that'll be one of the craziest stats in the history of college football.
I'm not sure that's a good thing. That wouldn't be a good thing.
I don't know if that's a good thing at all, but it will be good. The secondary is balling out of control. That's a very good thing. Jeremy says, Rod, can you talk about the bulletin board material, please? I'm eager to know. Okay, so I believe it was a defensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken, for ULM, right? Yes, it was their defensive coordinator. So, and I'm not gonna play it for you, but their defensive coordinator, Ernest Hill, he said 2 things actually. One, the first thing that I caught that he said is that this is about his players playing against Arch Manning. He said, we actually have some kids on our team who played against him in New Orleans, and a couple of guys didn't beat him already, so they don't hold too much fear against him.
I love it. I love that. I mean, yeah, look, I like it. I think it's great. I think anything that gets Texas a little fired up, home crowd, you have a big part in this again. But no, I like that. I mean, look, I went down to Isidore Newman, I think 3 times during Arch's high school career. And look, there's a reason him nor Peyton nor Eli won a state championship at Isidore Newman. That really wasn't the whole goal there. It was about the school, the academics, the situation there. But I'll tell you this, and I'm a firm believer in this, guys. All 3 of those guys played under duress in high school at the quarterback position. Now, they were on good teams, but there's a point in time where they were just out-talented, outgunned, outmanned. But they played under duress, and I really think, that helps quarterbacks in high school. The guys who play on 2 straight 16-0 teams and hit that number 1 read 95% of the time and take the ball in the shotgun and have this clean pocket and it's all high fives and after every play, that's not really actually playing quarterback at a high level to get you prepared for the next level. I think those guys played under duress, and I watched Arch do it, and he was playing under duress at Isidore Newman, and I think that helped him as a quarterback.
Yep. He also said, Ernest Hill, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing here because I remember the quote, and I don't know why he said it about his own team. He said, we are just a mediocre group of 5 program, and Texas isn't going to prepare the way they normally do for us. And essentially saying that's kind of an advantage for them because Texas will overlook them. And he called them mediocre. He called his own team mediocre. I was like, hey, so, okay, come on, coach. Don't call your own team mediocre. But he said mediocre, so he's obviously playing some mind games here. But yeah, coach, if that was an advantage, why did you just spoil the advantage? Now they will focus on you. So I don't know why defensive coordinator Ernest Hill is talking so much, His defense actually ain't bad this year, but they haven't faced anybody.
It's their offense that's the issue.
Their offense is a one-dimensional offense.
General Booty not getting it done, huh?
General Booty. Yeah.
It is interesting. You go out and you have bulletin board material, quote unquote, for this week, whereas it was almost the complete opposite last week when you have Jeff Traylor saying it's the best team he's ever faced as the head coach at UTSA. If you're Texas, and I don't know which one pumps you up more. I'm assuming this one, in the sense that it's almost a shot and a jab at your team and you're a quarterback for this game. But at the same time, I mean, you got to go out, you got to prove it. This time, maybe some extra motivation. I'm not sure if you necessarily need it or if it will actually show up in this game. I don't know if I would be, given any type of intel here, Rod, to give my opponent some extra juice, especially when I'm a 45-point dog.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but I'll give him some props. He's got some stones. He's testicular fortitude. I'll give him props for that.
Hey, and by the way, so Bobby mentioned on Coffee and Football that they do have an NFL prospect on this team. We're like Temple's best guy's their kicker. The guy, Billy Pullen. Okay, he is from Kaufman, Texas, obviously southeast of Dallas, small town guy who went to a JUCO. He's a 6'2", 245-pound edge player. He has 3 sacks this year. Had like 15 last year in JUCO. They have a legitimate NFL player. He's going to wear number 5, I believe. So he's going to be coming off the edge Saturday, but they have a legitimate NFL guy.
Yeah, you always ask that question. Do they have a guy that can make the Texas roster? You're saying he's the guy. He that dude. So look out for him and look out for General Booty. Just because, I mean, that's just too easy. I'm sure Craig Wade's gonna have a ball with that one. That's just too easy. The puns you can come up with General Booty. So I'm not hoping General Booty makes any plays. I'm hoping we sack him a lot, or we make some plays against him, because I want to be able to say General Booty as much as possible. I don't want to miss that.
And people that don't know the Booty family, and there's all sorts of issues with this. But if you don't know the Booty family, Josh Booty, I think, is his uncle. Obviously, Josh Booty was #1 recruit in the country out of high school over Peyton Manning, except I think Bobby Burton had those guys reversed when he was national recruiting advisor. But Josh Booty obviously was a big-time baseball, football guy that signed with LSU. And then there was another Booty that went out to USC. Why can't I not remember his first name? John David Booty. So he is in that family of Booties.
That family of Booties, yeah, man, no doubt. Like I said, I love that family of Booties, man. You don't know Booty. Hey, I know Booty. In general, I like Booty. There you go. See, it's too easy. It's just too easy. It comes out naturally. All right. Before we get carried away here with the Booty jokes, let me thank our good friends at Home Field Apparel for sponsoring our Wednesday night live stream here. Really grateful to Home Field for being a part of the On Texas football family. So, folks, trust me, you need to check out homefieldapparel.com. Thank you very much there, Matthew. If you're looking to get some great gear, homefieldapparel.com is a great spot for you, and you can get a great discount as well. Use that code Texas24 for 15% off. Home Field is focused on creating officially licensed apparel with vintage college designs. They have a wide range of available colleges, 180 plus and growing. They have a can't miss kickoff campaign. Of course, you can also enjoy their football boxes, the coaches' jackets, bomber jackets. Also, their Home Field football boxes contain 3 never-before-seen items unavailable anywhere else. Can't get them anywhere other than homefieldapparel.com. Platinum Box VIPs will receive additional exclusive items, a new hat or a ringer for Platinum VIPs only, a 2024 Platinum Pass, guaranteeing you 20% off and early access to your school's football releases throughout the 2024 season. All you got to do is check out homefieldapparel.com. Use the code Texas24 for 15% off. The convenience of online shopping has never been better. Check out their vintage designs at homefieldapparel.com. Use the code Texas24 for 15% off. Thank you very much to homefieldapparel.com. All right. Jeff
John David Booty was recruited by Sark to USC. I believe that. And people mentioned the Booties played at Evangeline. They sure did. They were the first that were way ahead of the game. I used to have so much fun going over there because obviously Matt Brown recruited Cole Pittman, RIP, and then Stevie Lee, Philip Geiger, Chase Pittman, and a number of guys. They played in that 9.5-yard shotgun, Rod. I'd never seen anything like that. And, you literally couldn't sack the quarterback. Oh, and then they just happened to have Josh Booty, Brock Berlin, who went to Florida, John David Booty, and all these guys that were D1 quarterbacks. I'm like, So they had the best quarterback in North Louisiana. They played in the 9.5-yard gun. It was very unique offense.
That's crazy.
The most important position on that team was actually the center.
Huh. Oh, yeah, because you got to have somebody snapping consistently that far back all the time. Yeah, that's a great point. Man, that's wild. 9.5-yard shotgun. That's freaky. All right, enough about General Maximus Axel Booty. That's his whole name. That is a Christian name. General Maximus Axel Booty. Yeah.
Max Booty.
It's too easy. All right, super chat from Eric here. Is it just me, or was it even more obvious how far Quinn has come with his footwork and pocket presence after Arch came in Saturday night? Arch played great, but it was an obvious difference in my opinion. I totally agree with Eric. Thank you very much for the super chat, by the way. Really appreciate it. The only time we saw, I call it kind of mullet Quinn, some of those old flashes of Quinn where he's lazy with the footwork and his mechanics all over the place. He's just slinging it out there, very lackadaisical in his throwing motion. That was a pick. The interception, and we all thought something was wrong. We're like, oh, thumb injury. That's thumb injury. It's got to be a thumb injury for him to be that off, that inaccurate, because we don't see that Quinn anymore. Right. We don't see that Quinn anymore. That Quinn is so rare. We all thought something was wrong with him. It turns out like he was fine. So I agree with you, Eric. That's how far he's come. He's so efficient now in that offense. It's amazing how efficient he is.
Yeah, the footwork there was bad. It just was. Eric. You know, he was off his back foot and his front foot was off the air, basically. It was basically like he had just jumped to throw the ball. And, you know, Trey Wisner was open in the flat there. It should have been in completion. He would have been 15 of 17 or 15 of 16 or whatever it was. But bad throw. Come to find out, the thumb, the hand, whatever looked to be an issue for Quinn whenever he was high-fiving teammates with the opposite hand. No, it's not believed to be anything serious. It's a non-factor, I was told. And Quinn came to the sideline basically just saying, yeah, that's just a bad throw. That's on me. So hand, not something we can point to for that one, unfortunately.
All right, let's go a little. Oh, sorry, got another super chat here. Jeff Carey. Jeff says he watch alongs. UT, then UT. He wants to watch along. Jeff is pushing for this, man. He wants to make it happen. All right, Jeff. We will introduce it to the higher ups, the bosses that make the big decisions, and we'll see what they have to say about it. Thank you very much, Jeff, for the super chat. All right, we're gonna go a little rapid fire here. Then I'm gonna ask my man Jerry to tell you about our good friends over at Duck Camp, one of my favorite websites. Check it out, duckcamp.com. All right, a little rapid fire here. How about this one? Jerry, we're starting with you. Does Texas have any momentum with Jermaine Bishop from Willis and Paris Melvin from Cy Springs?
Recruiting both. Willis, obviously, a lot very similar to Jalen Lott. So would you take both of those guys in a class? I don't know. Could you get both those guys in a class? Probably not. Jermaine Bishop from Willis, obviously tremendous wide receiver corner prospect. Very similar to Jalen Lott out of Frisco. Panther Creek will beat the game this week, and obviously his father's James Lott. So I think obviously Texas recruiting both those guys where they're at. We'll have to see long term. But if Jalen Lott is a top target for Texas, I just wonder if there's a place for both those guys in the same class.
Good stuff. The Lee OB says, Rod, you've done the deep dives on the D. How concerned are you about some of the run gap misreads, not filling the gap and or outside containment? The quarterback on the outside containment, I think Sark has even brought that up, that some quarterbacks have been able to get outside. I think your edge rushers, obviously young Colin Simmons sometimes maybe coming in and losing contain. I don't think it's a systemic issue. I think it's something that if Texas needs to correct it, literally they will. But if you want to be nitpicky, yep, no doubt. That's something even Sark has brought up that he's concerned about. The run gap misreads, I just think there was that one play. I think Benda misread it. Obviously, I think he hit the wrong gap, and then there was a bad angle by the safety on that long touchdown run for UTSA. I haven't seen a ton of misreads by the linebackers to say like it's a systemic issue, in my opinion. But if it becomes a systemic issue, trust me, I'll be the first one yelling about it. But I don't think I've identified anything, honestly, with the defense that I would see as a serious major deficiency going forward. Something they can't just correct with, obviously a week of coaching and game planning. Thank you for the question there. How about this one? Joe Z says, so Jerry, why don't we have any 5 stars according to your Aggie ranking?
Nah, he's messing with me.
Okay.
Because he loves it. Matthew, throw a picture of Dan Lanning for Josie to make his night complete with a glass of wine.
Okay. He's just trolling you then.
No, he's trolling me. I love it. Look, I update my stuff a little later. I like these guys to get met through most of their senior season. I can say I saw Jonah Williams play Friday night. As long as football is his number one focus, he is that level guy for me. If that's his focus, I don't know if I'd go there. I mean, he is that as a football player, but if you trying to decide between two sports, it's a little bit different. If you're sitting there saying, maybe football, maybe MLB draft, but he's made a football decision, which definitely elevates him. There he is, Joe Z. Producer Matt's so funny. But then I think obviously Lance Jackson's playing at that level. Elijah Barnes not many linebackers get ranked there. He's playing at a really high level. Smith Orogbo, really high level. So they have a number of the guys in this class that are knocking on the door. I think one of the things that stinks is that Josiah Sharma hasn't been Enderkrum is kind of fighting his transfer to Folsom, and he's missed a couple of games. I really wondered if he played all year at Folsom, if he would just truly blast up the rankings, but I'm not sure he's going to get that chance.
Yeah. Good stuff there, Jerry. CJ Cisco Diaz wants to know, baseball started practice this week. How are you feeling about Schloss's first season?
Yeah, there should be a lot of talent. Unfortunately, he addressed the bullpen very well, right? You look at Ruger Riojas out of UTSA is kind of one of those main pieces back there. The big thing for me is Texas went out and added a lot of guys that with strikeout stuff. And I don't think that was necessarily prevalent on teams past under David Pierce, right? You typically had a starter or two, Nolan Kingham, you had a Bryce Elder, guys that were great Friday night guys. And then, if you had a bullpen issue or if you needed someone to eat up a chunk of innings or even Sunday afternoon, you didn't have a lot of options in the back end of your bullpen to close games out or to get you through the weekend. Aiden Moffitt, Thomas Burns, a number of guys right now coming in from the portal that are going to help give this team some life out of that bullpen right now. So that's exciting. And of course, out of the lineup, just to see how Easton Winfield and Ethan Mendoza, guys that are going to be big pieces of this Texas lineup, just to see how they kind of come along, right? You got a second baseman for the future. You got a left fielder for the future. You got a lot of bats right now that are expected to take the leap. And of course, you got a big name coming back with Jalen Flores. So a lot of star power, it looks like. Now it's all about seeing what the Fall World Series is able to get out of your team. All in all, you should have a competent team ready to compete in the SEC year one.
Good stuff there, CJ. How about this one? My man Stevie says, Rod B, 49 career PBUs, ranks 4th all time. Boom! Appreciate that, CB. Still top 5, baby. Last time I looked, glad that's still the case. Rich Money Cash 1. Thank you for the super chat. Very kind of you. Gentleman, he wants to know, it's recruiting here. Will Texas look at DN Toby Hastrup at Maid Creek, kid from London who is blowing up? Not much football experience, but he looks the part. Thoughts?
Yeah, so he's a kid that runs 700 meters, about 6'4", 230. I asked him last week because people have been asking. He had not heard from Texas. A lot of people have offered him, but I think that's the key there. Texas has Lance Jackson, Smith Orogbo, and Javian Hilson still in play. So I'll check in with him again and see if Texas has made any contact or if they're taking a look at him. I can tell you his teammate, the 2026, Kosi Okpala, the linebacker, his junior tape looks tremendous. Very elite. He'll be at the Texas-Georgia game. Tremendous prospect.
Good stuff there. How about this one from Todd Lacey? Says, Jerry, Rod, CJ, are you guys going to start wearing QR codes on your caps and shirts so we can contribute to NIL? Listen, that's not a bad idea. Did y'all just hear the story about Tennessee? Tennessee is preparing to add a 10% talent fee to ticket prices to raise money to give the players. They're just going to tax. They're going to tax the fans and be like, "Hey, man, 10%. That's a talent fee for the players." That's not bad.
You better keep winning if that's the case.
Yeah, and is it Oklahoma State that's going to have the
code,
have like a QR code, right?
The NCAA shut that down. Didn't they sell them?
Did they shut it down? Oh, that's right. They did. They did.
Oh, interesting. I didn't hear that.
That's actually interesting. So if you average 100,000 at a game, and you jack the price up 10%.
Hey,
that's a good way to cover your number you need.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly
you
right.
can't be going full Florida State. That's the case.
No.
Yeah, you're gonna have an empty stadium already. It's gonna be even emptier if you start losing and the price is higher.
That's true. That's a good point. All right, let's talk to Jerry. Tell the folks about our friends over at Duck Camp. We'll come back, answer a couple more questions, then get ready to close out the live stream tonight. But first, Jerry's going to tell you about friends at Duck Camp.
The hat that Rod's wearing, I don't have mine on tonight, but I got it. I'm looking at two of them. Duck Camp gear is made for the people that live in the moments out there where there are fish to catch. That's you, UT boy. Birds to hunt, time to kill, football to watch. They like doing all that stuff. So they built a company centered on it, based in Austin, and dedicated to giving people best-in-class hunting and fishing apparel. Duck Camp gear has been tested from the back country of Alaska to the dove fields of Texas and ready to keep you cool and comfortable on those scorcher game days. Got any of those in mind? Yep, Saturday night. It will stand up to the toughest conditions, but also happily sit down beside a fire and drink a few cold ones if that's more your speed. Some of their new featured items include new sun protection shirts that keep you cool, dry, and comfy, available in camos and solid colorways, and their iconic game series hats that feel as timeless as the hats found in your grandpa's garage. Be sure to check out the new mallard hat and the pointer hat in the clay colorway. Shop hunting gear at duckcamp.com.
All right, thanks for that, Jerry. Appreciate it. Thanks to Duck Camp as well. Ashley wants to know, why are so many guys injured? Does that have anything to do with the way they train? Hard to say unless we got a bigger sample size. It's early, and honestly, those injuries are happening all over college football. The NFL right now, there's a ton of injuries early on in the NFL right now. I'm talking big-time injuries. So it's tough to say. Injuries are so sporadic.
The crazy thing is the team who needs all their players playing the most, Florida, has 10 guys listed as out for Mississippi State. 10, including Eugene Wilson and a number of linemen.
Honestly, Ashley, if it was later on in the season in different games, a lot of these guys would play.
Yep.
They're not playing because of the circumstance and the opponent they're playing, and not much is at stake right now. So that's different too. But a good question there from Ashley. Appreciate it. And last one here from Nathan: can the sacks pick up if teams keep doing the quick short passing game?
No.
That's why the third and long is important. Getting teams in third and medium, third and long when you know they got to throw the football. Then Johnny Manson and PK can throw those exotic looks at them, the NASCAR dime, the 3 high safety, and then you can isolate Colin Simmons on the edge with a Trey Simmons on your NASCAR packages. That's why getting them in third and long is really big, I think, in terms of getting more of those splash havoc plays you're talking about. Okay, let's thank good friend Andy Ludicky before we end our live stream tonight. If you're looking to diversify, you may be someone like me that has their hands in multiple businesses. Well, Andy can help you diversify by finding you businesses that will fit your time allotment and your financial goals. If you're stuck in the corporate rat race with 2 weeks PTO and no control over the money you make or your schedule in general, call Andy and he will take you through a process to help you find a business that will fit your skill sets and your financial goals. Franchise ownership isn't for everyone, but if you have a desire to take control of your financial destiny, just call Andy today. It's the number right there, 404-973-9901, or email him at andy@myperfectfranchise.net. That's andy@myperfectfranchise.net. Thank you very much to Andy Ludicky and his team. And thank you, all you guys out there, for all your questions and your participation in the live stream tonight. We really appreciate you guys. It was awesome as usual. Any last words, comments, gentlemen, for the people out there before we end the live stream tonight?
Sark has a Zoom press conference tomorrow, 11 a.m. CJ obviously will cover that. Will Sark actually make the final call there, or will he continue to wait? We'll see. Will he update anybody else potentially that he might sit out Saturday? Probably not, but maybe, CJ. So we'll see. Coffee and Football in the Morning, winning drive tomorrow afternoon. I'm probably going to take in a high school football game about 20 minutes away tomorrow evening. So
Nice.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, see, if you want to know where Jerry is, you got to stay tuned on Texas football. CJ, you got anything you want to say to the people before we get out of here tonight?
No, looking forward to what Sark has to say during his presser. Of course, we'll have the winning drive tomorrow afternoon as well. And Jerry's going to be checking out a game down in Houston. I think I got a game up in Austin I want to be checking out as well. Thursday night. So we'll have all the goods here at On Texas Football.
As usual. Thank you to my man Matthew behind the scenes. He's the real MVP. Thank you, CJ. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you to all you guys out there for the super chats. Very kind of you. Thanks for all the questions and your participation. Thanks to our sponsors. Thank you to Duck Camp. Thank you to HomeFieldApparel.com as well. Thank you to Andy Ludicky and his team. Tomorrow, you got coffee and football starting at 8 a.m. As CJ mentioned, you got the winning drive starting at around 3 o'clock with CJ Vogel, myself, and Coach Bob Shipley. Three-way tie for show MVP, guys. Hey, no, it's really Matthew. Matthew is the show MVP. He is. I will say that. It ain't. We do the easy job. We got the easy gig. Matthew's got the tough gig behind the scenes, and he kills it every night, and we don't give him enough props. So thank you to Matthew, and thank you to you guys. Really appreciate it. Until next time, hook 'em horns.